Hello, everyone. All right, welcome to ITS 450. Today we are doing our presentations. So today and Thursday, if we need more time, should be things like 6 to 8 groups. So that should be about 15 to 20 minutes per group at most, okay?
15 to 20 minutes.
All right, so just make sure, do your presentation, and then talk about the project, talk about, the testing part, the documentation, and then you'll do the demo of your e-commerce. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So who would like to go first?
It's me.
Josh Thomas? Josh?
Yeah, me, Yash, and then Zach.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yash and Zach.
Zachary Nippert.
All right, go ahead, please. So go ahead. Do you guys have slides or no?
Oh, no, we do not have slides.
But you need to cover the testing part, so maybe you have the document or something.
Yeah, we have the documents.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
Do you want to see that stuff first? Because Zach has that on his computer.
It's up to you how you want to present.
I mean, I can go through the website first to show you everything
I just
works.
need to see the demo, and then also need to see the testing part, and something about the document.
Oh, well,
Okay.
Josh, you still have the spreadsheet with the testing, so you can still demo.
Yeah, I still have that. So we can go. We have a custom theme website, so you can go here, get a product, add it to your cart. We have 2 of these products in here right now. All these links work. All these things, like you can add stuff into them, type situation. Checkout. We can just put some information in here. Right, so the billing works, and then I just gotta bring up a credit card. Oh, that's wrong. So, credit card. Oh, month. So the order is completed. We can also click here, and we can also see a copy of the receipt.
And we had some error checking in there because he put in the wrong date by mistake, and it showed that it didn't work.
Yeah, and it does error checking all the different data inputs. So if I, let's just say I leave that blank, I could just hit submit. It's going to test, and it's going to test for strings. So if you do put, like, say, for example, a number, it's going to say the number's wrong as well. If you put letters in there, it's going to give you an error here as well. Same for it checks for patterns for the email and phone number as well. Admin side. We have a test user. You can go in and you can add your products, accessories. You can check out your inventory, sales, orders. As you can see the different orders that we've made just for testing purposes. The different customers that happen. And then
Can you go back to that orders? All right, and that's the order you just placed, right? 8,
yeah,
141. All right, very good.
And then we can log out here, and yeah, and then I guess I can share my other. Let me just bring up the document. Give me 1 second. And this shows some of the stuff that we tested.
So that login is properly validated?
Yeah, so if I put a random thing in there, no account found, and if I put the wrong password is not, correct.
Did you try it for SQL injections?
Yeah, I'm about to show the document that has the different stuff that we
So
tried.
you tried SQL injections on here and you have it documented in the.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Should I share the other document, or do you want me to show you anything else on the website?
We can come back to the website. I mean, you showed pretty much the whole pipeline, so it looks good, but we can come back to it.
All right, I just gotta figure out 10 screens. Do you just have to stop completely? Yeah, I think. All right, I'm just going to rechange the screen I'm sharing. So we only did a few tests, but as you can see, this is the different things that we've tested.
You tested a few fields. You didn't use the template. You just, oh, okay. I see. All right. So basically the idea with this is that you've put in values in the text fields and you didn't get any errors or unexpected behavior. Everything worked.
Correct.
Okay. All right. And then the report would be the other thing, right? But
yeah, Zach, do you want to see it?
not yet. Go back to your website.
All right.
You went kind of fast there. So go back to the website.
Yeah, I was just selecting the screen.
All right. So here, do the SQL injection like in the class one. Single quote or true. Okay. Don't say.
Yeah, no, yeah, I was just.
No account found with that user. How did you secure this on the database?
I believe we use store.
I think there should be a
Use prepared
validation.
statement.
I'm sorry, y'all should saying something.
Yeah, so before that is actually, before this input is communicates with the database, we actually just validate it to make sure there is no like keywords of SQL injection, such as like quotations and like commas or true and such things like that, because in the username, those things should not exist anyways.
Did you
So we
use
try to look for keywords.
did you use prepared statements on this?
I'm not too sure, but we most likely should have.
Okay. I mean, it did. You made this, right? So the login would not have a.
Yeah. I think that did have some input validation
So
for the login.
not in here. I think it might just be directly in our code.
Yeah, it would
Yeah,
be
it
in
should be in the code.
Yeah.
It would be like in the lab. It would be in the. Okay. All right, that's good. I mean,
Oh, okay.
That's the basic pipeline, right? You place an order and the order appears in the inventory. Good. Yeah. So what did you buy? What item did you?
It was. I honestly, I don't even know. I just clicked.
Dr. Strange.
Yeah, this is a costume.
Oh, costumes.
It's a very good costume. It's for child and $60.
Yeah, that's yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Very good. The report.
I can bring that up. Which report or the you want it, or let me just show you real quick. What do you want to see?
Did you use the template that was on? Yeah. Right. Okay. So you did fill this out.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Good. As I said, this is not meant to be, it's for you to go through the exercise of seeing, things that you would have in there. I'm not looking for full completion. Is that from your own database?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. All right, yeah, exactly. So just keep going, I guess.
Oh, this is it.
That's fine though. I mean, you have this and you have the appendix would be the templates. So in a perfect world, you'd have a little bit more than that, but pretty good. I think you guys did a great job.
So we getting at least a C here? What are we talking?
You did a good job. I mean, the website works. You placed an order, fulfilled it. So good job. All right. Did you guys? So the last thing is, that list of questions that I gave you?
Yes.
Did you guys go over that?
Yes, I have that. Would you like to see that?
Yeah, please just open that. So that's
you got it, man.
The last thing. And just to make sure that you've addressed everything, or at least you say it was already there, or yeah, exactly. So can you just walk through this one?
Sure. You want me to just go through all bullet points? Okay. So we created the login page, and we said that only admins could log in and make changes to stuff like sale prices or add inventory. For user permissions, we only had admins have full permissions, and then visiting users had limited. Regular website users didn't have any privileges to see the database or interact with it. For passwords for logging in as admin, we went with SQL's SQL hashes passwords by default, and so that's the functionality that we use with PHP MyAdmin. The modules were already protected from SQL injections. Like 20 things here. You want me to go through every one? I'll do it.
Well, I mean, that was my intention, yes.
Oh, you got it, man. We protected our new module from cross-site scripting and other injections by validating user input, especially with how Yash talked about preventing special characters from being sent and interacting with the database. We didn't use Groot because we didn't think the server required it. It prevented some processes from working correctly when we started it, so we scrapped it.
Okay.
For SOP, HTTP redirects for all visitors for the protocol. For SQL injections, again, it validates user input, preventing special characters. We left error messaging in for testing purposes. If this website was ever to be deployed on a live production environment, we would advise error messages being disabled, because error messages that are prompted to the user can give information about the environment. There's a particular game that's been pretty popular the last few months called Among Us, and they output JavaScript errors when something breaks to regular users. And I was able to see the language in the database that game uses for hosting because of that. So that was something that we would advise, just as an example. Our SSL secures traffic so that sensitive customer information is kept safe following government regulations. We use authorized.net for our certificates, and so it secures traffic and allows for the billing payments to be processed.
You used authorized.net for certificates?
Yes.
So you use authorized.net, I think, for authentication of credit cards, but the certificate is a self-signed certificate.
Certificate, yeah. Yeah, actually, we did not use it as from authorized.net. We had to configure it.
Yeah, so authorized.net
yeah.
is only for
My mistake, gentlemen.
Credit card. It's a payment clearinghouse, right?
Yeah, it must be a type or something.
Okay. Keep going.
We had to configure PHP MyAdmin, and with that, we were able to create and edit items with the website with stored procedures.
Mm-hmm.
We have all pages using SSL. for accessing the site.
Okay.
I couldn't recall making any changes to this file.
Okay.
We added a breakout function for clickjacking.
You added that, really?
I believe so.
Okay. That's how
We
you
use
do it, so that's a good answer. Okay.
we use stored procedures for updating the inventory of the database. So if a customer, say somebody before the customer bought the last one, the stored procedure would correctly update that, and it wouldn't allow a user to buy something. Purpose of authorize.net was to secure customer payments in keeping with guidelines for keeping that information private. For whitebot testing, we had certain features had to be coded correctly to be activated because, as you know, we were given certain stuff that was purposely broken for us
Did you
to
guys
fix.
do any white box testing in particular? What's
Just
one,
with
like one example of that?
the testing for Sql injection. Does it not fit for white box testing?
And we also did the input validation and stuff like that, which is
Yeah,
white
for
box.
checkout.
But white box testing is when you're more in the code, right? You're like running
Oh.
through a function or a block of code just to see how it how the data flows through. Black box testing, remember, it's when you go through the text boxes.
Oh, then I believe I misinterpreted what white box testing meant. That's my mistake.
Okay. Yeah, so just look into that a little bit.
Yes, sir.
What else?
I don't remember what number we just left on. 20. We didn't have a lot of major problems. We had to make sure that we had it coded so that credit card numbers took exactly 16 numbers and they didn't take any alphabetical or special characters, and to have phone numbers be 7 numbers or more, or between 7 numbers and what is it, 10 or 11 numbers. When we started the black box testing, our shipment button wasn't working, but we found it was because we had something set to testing.
Okay.
For input validation for credit cards, again, we had it to be sure that the 60 numbers were inputted and it was the correct format. The purpose of HT access was to restrict what files a user can and can't mess with, and it's stored in the directory. In the future, we'd handle new versions of PHP very cautiously and with plenty of testing before it's being deployed. I work for NIPSCO, and every day something is broken because somebody doesn't test something correctly before they deploy it live, and then it breaks, and then my gas payment is late by a few days because of that. So we would recommend testing over and over and over again before deploying live.
All right, great job. Really nice. Any questions for this group, guys? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So who would like to go next?
I won't be next, Professor.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay.
Just state your names, and then, or if you can put them on a PowerPoint.
于浩万,
Okay.
飞愿汪 and 小雨.
All right. So let me just hold on. Let me just get your name. So, Ph.D. Wang, right?
Yes.
Okay. And who else?
小雨.
Xiao Yu Long?
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to spell your name correctly. Just the two of you, or is there someone else?
Well, we have 3. Yes. Just
Who's
2.
the third person?
I have 3 person.
Professor, I have the name in the chat box. Did you see that?
All right. So I have Ph.D. Wang. Xiaoyu Long and Yu Hao. Okay.
Yes.
All right, guys, please go ahead.
Okay. So now I also start introduce my project in the.
Just speak up a little louder because it's a bit.
Oh, okay. So now I just start the introduce in from the login page. In this page, I add the login page to stop some malicious attack to the admin page. So if you want to go to admin page, you must through the login. And for avoid the Sql injection, my login page did not support the special character like this. You can't enter some character like this.
So you did like in the JavaScript, you did some validation.
I did in the yes, in the C# PHP, in PHP.
Okay.
Yes. So do the register. Register also do not support some special character there. And now I just go to the coffee page per first. So there's my page. I do not change the title. I just use the type of page. This two, there, just the item. The on two it works, and I can add some product into the cart. Those also work too. It works too. And sales, you can also add it from sales. So now I add 3 things there. I also can update it. Now I check out it. Let me just just image. I can now I just place this order now. Then I can receive a email. This email records what I buy, how much money I paid, and what product and product number. Those things is there. And also, but this button is not worked because I think this is something works. You must connect the printer, so I do not know how to do this. So this button is not works. Then I just go to the admin page. Admin page. In this page, I can also change this is all works. Reset. Category. Oh, this is category. But this is what works online. And I can add this. I can add this, but for this work on this page, I contact it through the CSP. CSP. This is to avoid XSS attack. So under the policy of this page do not receive the script from outside. And this will all works, and you can set the cells. Also this do not. And this order page records the order information.
Right. So the last order was order 22 for like $45, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, yes, I receive it.
Very good.
And there is the customer. I receive all customer information there, and you
Okay.
can see the detail there.
Great.
There's all I want to show.
Yeah,
And
no, that's pretty good. Excellent. So now the report, the testing, can you show that a little bit? Speak to that.
report, okay.
And the testing, just talk a little bit about it, maybe bring up a template.
Okay, I want to show the report first and testing, because testing is not my work, so I will let another team member to talk about this.
Okay, that's fine.
Here is, oh, it's
Yeah.
good.
So we did the white box and the black box testing. And first we did the black box testing, as it's not just the black box. Black box is just for users and to test the website function. And the program is regarded as the
Shall we,
black box. Yeah.
I taught the SRS first.
Oh, okay, right.
Ricardo, are you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just speak up a little louder for the both. of us.
Okay, I don't know why my microphone can't
Much
receive.
better now, much better.
Okay, there is my report. It's here. Xiao Yulong finished the 2 part and I finished the 3 part.
You're still sharing the website.
Oh, really? No, maybe I should stop share. Share my. There, can you see this?
Yeah, now we can see it. Yep.
Yeah, there is this part. 3rd part is my works, and the 1st and 2nd part is Xiao Yulong's works. And
Okay. Right. So this is, again, you know, almost like a questionnaire. So you're filling, you know, things out from your project. Okay. All right. Just scroll down, really. You don't have to explain everything.
okay, and
Okay. Use cases, and then.
yes, and then the function requirement,
Uh-huh.
and for analyze
Okay. Good.
Yuan's work.
Okay. DFDs. All right. Excellent. Excellent. Really good job.
So now I need to stop my sharing that Xiao Yulong share his.
Yeah, just go over the testing and then go over the question, the 20 questions.
Xiao Yulong,
Yeah.
your work.
You don't
Uh,
have to define what the testing is. Just give us, you know, what test cases you did and.
Yes. Can you share your screen and show the testing result?
wait for a while.
Okay.
Can you see this page?
We're currently seeing the website.
Yeah, it's just the website.
But you don't
And-
just don't have to do the testing live. If you just have the, like the Excel spreadsheet that the other group showed before.
You mean the like the form we
Like
finished?
the testing template. If you've recorded that, you can just
Okay,
talk a little bit
yeah.
about it. I'm not asking you to do this live testing. Yeah, exactly. So this is your
Yeah.
document?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so you've done
And-
some of it, okay. So
And
some
we-
fields and values, black box testing mainly.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
For
do any
black-
white box testing?
We also did some white box testing like this, but for the white box testing, it's just we reading the code, the PHP code, and just test the more focus on conditional statements.
Okay, conditional statements.
And we, yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, as I said, you could spend thousands of hours on this, so that's pretty good. And then finally, can you just go over the questionnaire of the 20 questions?
Yes, it's Yihao, it's your turn.
The question, right? Okay, let me check the questionnaire. Oh, okay. Here is my
Let's
question.
make that a little bit bigger because it's very hard
Okay, okay.
to see.
Okay.
No, just like make
How
it,
about now?
they have 3 pages. Better, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so here,
So I should explain it.
just briefly mention, go over this, please.
Okay, okay. For now, the first one, as I showed in the presentation,
Yes.
I showed it. Then this is what I write in HT access to avoid the other page, other request into the admin page. So this is block it. Handle the permission, and I don't know, I understand this is like this is what I should say. Define the username and password host and database name and connect it in the connect to this.
So this part is actually that you would go to the MySQL, and there's SQL commands where you can tell, a user what permissions it can have with relation to the database. So it's not really this what you're showing there, but there's we
So you-
covered there's one of the slides in the lectures where we covered some commands on how to do that. You might want to take a look.
misunderstand it.
Yeah.
Let me just keep introduce this.
Just keep going.
Okay, how is the secure? I secured it through the MD5 function. I use the MD5 function, compare every password and put the password into the database. So even you in the database, you don't know, yes, just like this, what the password looks like. And how do you protect? Yes, this is what I told in the presentation. This is CSP content security policy, what I told in presentation about this. Recommend, or I think this is sandboxing to restrict yourself, so you also do not get the request from the authority.net. So I do not use this. SOP, and for SOP, yes, this is block the request from other domain or sites to my project, and also stop so many malicious attacks. How does in e-commerce? Oh yes, this is what I found. What I found. This is every form in this project. It creates every form through this function. This function creates the form and also have arrow header. So if you enter some special character into the form, the arrow header will check it and show the arrow into the page. You can't, you wouldn't submit the form. How did you? Oh, I do not enable this because I think this is error message will show that some potential problem or some warning. Maybe this warning or problem do not affect the running of the work of the project, but they will show up in the page. It is not good. SSR, of course, I need this to connect HTTP and HTTPS. And this is also a security way to affect some other attack. And how did this? do you use certification? Yes, this certificate to enable the SSL. So this is what let get my problem use the SSL, enable SSL. And 12 is configurations. Did you set up the, yes, because I set up this in the servers, so just update, I just copy the in comments into my server and update the site directory and running directory. Just this was set up, and in VM, I just need to set the root file into the some just site application or hosts in the VM. Once in HTTPS, yes, I should write some code like that to redirect the HTTPS back to the HTTP. This is what works. And do you change any in this? I do not change it because I do not want to change some. I do not need some limits about the upload time, loading times, some parameter like this. Now, how do you protect your site from checking? Yes, also through the HT access. This failed to protect the folder. Every file in this folder to protect every folder in this file to receive some malicious code, malicious request. So this is what I did. What did this? Yes, because I found this story produced in the billing process. In when some code, some parameter losing the
There's a lot of stored procedures, right?
okay. I just make an example. So the billing PHP code the storage procedure to get some parameter to create a new order, because some parameter order losing. So this is some way to avoid the attack about the.
So usually what I think the question means is that stored procedures usually allow you to have the SQL code in the MySQL server instead of in PHP. So it minimizes that problem.
Yes, so this is somewhat separate storage the value of input. So the value of input, so you can, if you this what in fact what I said is just to fix the value into the Sql server. So this somewhat affects the Sql injection, I think. The authorized net. Yes, as I say, in fact, I want to show something there to answer this question. In fact, I want to show something there. Yes, this is what I use author internet. This is record all transaction I submit.
Right, that's what authorized.net, it provides some accounting for you for the payment processing.
Yes, so this is what I think the authorized.net use
Sure.
to protect the
That's it.
What will the major? Oh, this is what our team member writes. So can I skip this and
Sure.
okay. How did you validate? Yes, through the program match.
Yeah, okay, good.
What program? Yes, this is control. In fact, this is to redirect every request to another site, another file. So I think this is not the symbolic link in the Linux.
It's a hidden file. A file that starts with a dot is a hidden file.
Yes, also a hidden file. Yeah, this is a hidden file, of course. So protect and redirect. This is what it uses. And in the future, I think it's just keep update and remain more space to our project now for updates. Just don't write the code in our object too extremely, just to remember.
All right. Yeah, great. Excellent. Excellent job, guys. Any questions for this group? All right, excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Professor.
you.
All right, who would like to go next?
We can go.
Okay, thank you.
Professor Calix, I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Are all group members submitting all documents, or
Yeah,
is
so
one?
usually, I understand that question. I'd rather you do it, just makes it easier for me to grade, okay?
So I have all individuals
I'd
submit?
like to have that everyone has material associated with them.
Okay, so every group member submit all documents.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you know, Bright, it's not my space, right? So it's Bright's, I can use all the
Okay,
storage.
cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you. You guys can zip, zip your files and just submit one zip file, right? Okay.
All right, you can see RAM Providers of America, correct?
Yeah, let me get your names first, guys.
Okay.
So, can-
Trevor Reportinga, Alex Gutierrez, and Brendan Alder.
okay, I got your names. Go ahead.
Awesome. So our website had the basic design of downloadable RAM. Who all doesn't need an upgrade to their home computer? So I'll just start going through our options. We have 3 different options at Apple, Corsair, G.Skill. I'll get some Corsair because nobody wants Apple. We'll get the desktop 8 GB RGB option, add that to the cart. You can update this quantity. We'll get 5 of them. It's a pricey one. Move it to the checkout. And we'll fill in all the prompts. And this will be, we'll take your credit card, Professor. If you don't mind, we'll take the last 3 digits as well. I'm just playing. We have authorized.net.
That's a no on my credit card.
Are you sure? All right. Place the order, and that goes through. Filed as the
number
10th.
10 and 319. Okay. Got it.
Correct. And we can go to the admin side here, and we can see record of that. If we look at the recent orders, that's order ID number 10, and it still says we have 1 left to ship. And we actually can, so currently in stock, we have 100 of that specific item. If we ship the order, it updates the stock to 95, and it says that the order is shipped. You can also double check that. And here we are as well with the 95 updated quantity in stock. If we were to, let's say, get another shipment of that, we can quite easily update that, and we're back at 100 again. So those prompts.
So pretty good. So I noticed in your checkout, was that encrypted, the whole checkout?
Yes, it was.
Why is it saying not secure there? You know what I mean? Like if you move an item, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm okay with it. So don't like get nervous or anything, but I'm just curious. So if you add an item to the checkout, to the cart, I mean, okay. And then checkout, I guess. Okay, so this part, it says not secure at the top.
It's a self-signed certificate. That's the reasoning for that. Yeah.
Liking that. Okay. All right. Great. Just making sure. All right. Excellent. So now you've proven that you read code, you fixed bugs, and you got some solution going.
Correct.
What about your report, your testing templates, and the 24 questions?
So let me stop sharing that. I'm going to pull up the testing for you.
Okay.
So I pretty much just followed the one that you had posted in the actual Brightspace, and I kind of went through, for the most part, everything we got to work. There was a few ones that we ended up not getting to work. I just didn't really have enough time to mess around with it.
Yeah.
This was, I mean, yeah, just a couple of these.
Okay, so you got a black box testing, white box testing, some functions there, right?
So we did a pretty good job of getting everything to work correctly
Yeah,
and
that's pretty
update.
good. Excellent, excellent. What about the document, the SRS and the?
I'm gonna leave that to Brandon and Alex. I believe Alex has the SRS that he can share with us.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you could just go through it, you know, as I said, it's again, you know, you're going through the exercise of preparing that document. What do you have in there?
Let's see. Okay, can you guys see my SRS?
Yes.
All right. So this is the first page, just with the title, RAM Providers America. This is showing who's on the team, Trevor, Brennan, myself. I got the revision history here of what's been done on the entire project and on the SRS itself. And we have the table of contents down here. And this is where it really begins with the introduction, the purpose, and the scope. But is there something that you want to see specifically?
Just scroll down. You don't have to describe it. You know, so you filled in all this. You can see that.
Correct. And we do have two images towards the very bottom. If I scroll a little faster.
Some database information.
Yeah, and if I was to zoom in, you can see that much clearer. So I'm just going to zoom it back out. And then.
Yeah, okay. So so data flow diagrams you don't have, but that's okay. All right.
Yeah, but I do have the sequence diagram here, which goes from like the user to display, session, and database. It shows the different routes it takes.
Great. Yeah, it's good. I mean, you guys would continue to fill this up if you were actually doing it for real. All right. So now the last thing, the security questions, if you can just go over those.
Yeah, I'll go and pull those up right now.
Wasn't there a cross-site scripting question? I've noticed that nobody has mentioned. I thought I had put a cross-site scripting question in here, but maybe I didn't. All right.
Yes, question 5.
Oh, I did.
So
Okay, yeah.
I go over that one first if you want.
Yeah, go
protect
ahead.
your new module from cross-site scripting and other code injections. We were able to protect it using a new module from cross-site scripting and other injections, mainly using HTTP protocols.
But for cross-site scripting, it wouldn't be encryption, right? It would be validation, input validation. So
Input validation. I know we had that as well. I might not have included in the question.
This is the XSS attack. Remember the worm lab that you did? So that was just pure JavaScript input validation. So correct that.
We'll go ahead and change that for you and update it. Any other specific ones you'd like to go over, or just start from the top?
Yeah, just go through them. Don't spend too much time on them.
Okay.
You know, it's repetitive, I
How we
guess.
secured the site's inventory and sale administration page. We were able to secure it using HE access, and as well as make it a username and password for users. So therefore nobody can just sign on.
I'm sorry, you put a password in the folder itself is what you're telling me, correct?
I believe we had one there as well, but I know we had username and passwords just for the website itself so that nobody could just sign on.
And those go to the database,
or
correct?
access the admin password and stuff.
The login goes to the database, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, keep going.
Okay. How did you secure the database password information? We secured it by storing information on a different area, not accessible by folders within the website. I believe that links also to that question is what you're talking
that
about.
People have gotten wrong. this is actually, if you remember, there was a lecture, you go into MySQL and write queries where you will say for the specific accounts that you have in MySQL, read write permissions on the table, on tables or the whole database. So that's what that should say, okay?
I believe there was a different question that we also included that we did have read and write permissions. I might just not have included on that one.
Okay, got it.
Would you recommend using croot sandboxing on your site? Explain why. We would recommend it, actually. That way the user is able to run everything through the user ID, everything associated with their account. So if they are an admin, they'll be able to access the back end as well as the front end. If they're not an admin, they'll just be on the front end primarily. But we would recommend it. For the same origin policy, it didn't really affect our website, mainly because of using the input validation and HTTPS.
But keep in mind, same origin policy is the browser handles that. So
okay. How does the e-commerce website handle SQL injections? Handles it by accepting text due to input validation. Only text, sorry.
Okay.
Let's see. For what configurations we had set up on the server or the VM to protect and enable our site, we secured it mainly using SSL connections, as well as other things such as input validation and such.
Okay.
How do we protect our site from clickjacking attacks? We were not able to protect it from clickjacking attacks, unfortunately.
Fair enough.
That was one of the things we weren't able to figure out.
Yeah, that's fine. The first group answered it. There's a code that you put on your own PHP page, so that if you're ever somebody tries to put your page within their page, you can break out.
Okay, I see.
It's like a breakout function. So it's just a piece of code that you put on your PHP page. But yeah, good.
What were major problems you found while doing white box texting of functions? The major problems we had were with code not being easily changeable changing it between the coffee site into our own site. Having new variable names and adding different pictures definitely had some minor errors as well. Other than that, we didn't really run into too many problems with the white box testing functions. Major problems found when doing white box testing of conditional structures. Didn't have too much issues with this either. Major problems during black box testing. We did have some problems with input validation at first, but we were able to get it working, as you saw on the website, and the test form as well. So for 22, we included a bit of the code here for how we input validated the input fields for credit cards, as an example.
Mm-hmm. Regular expressions.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is the purpose of the htaccess file? It's to manage and access the files and folders in a directory. And lastly, in the future, we would handle new versions of PHP and depreciated versions. We'd say that you'd have to update the commands and research to also figure out what new versions of PHP would be, as well as the updated versions of commands, or if there is an updated, just new versions.
Okay.
It really just depends on what's out at that time.
Yep. All right, great. Excellent job. Are there any questions for this group?
Not right now. Thank you.
Nope. All right. Excellent. All right. Thank you, guys. Who would like to go next?
We can go next.
All right. Great. So if you can just give me the names of the team members, and then you've seen all the presentations, so pretty much the same format.
It's Jackie, and then Alicia and Susanna.
All right. Go ahead, please.
So we decided to do our project on Funbox, and then we could do the process of purchasing an item. Do 3. And then we could do a checkout. And then we could we can continue to go through the billing after we input all the users' information. And we use the authorized.net to use the credit cards to do this process. And the process should go through and it shows the price. And then if we click the link, it should show the amount, the price.
All right, so it's order 8 and 1175.
Or do you want us to go to the database to show like it's there, or?
Go to the admin page if you can to fulfill the order. Okay, there it is, right? Number 8 and 1175. Excellent.
And then you can also see like the
Customers, the sales, you could update, you could adjust the price and then the start date for the sales, and then you could add a book,
Okay.
price, and then the amount of in stock.
And you logged in, you created that login.
Yeah. I could just go back.
You have to log out and then log back in, or no?
So I have my information already added there. I just logged in right
Did
away.
you secure that for SQL injections?
You know, we didn't have a chance to on the code. I know there is a part where like you're not supposed to have like any other characters on there, but we didn't get a chance to test it all. So, but everything else we did test as far as like the cart and that goes.
Okay. All right. So you're saying that login could have a vulnerability, but you know that it could have, so you can fix it.
No, we actually, like, if you try to log in with somebody else's name or something, someone who's not been registered, that we did check, it didn't go through.
It didn't work. Okay. All right. All right. Very good. The website looks great. So then can you talk a little bit about the report, the testing, and the questionnaire?
Okay, we don't have like a really nice like spreadsheet or anything, but we did do all the testing and we have screenshots to show like the before and after, like the update and like.
You didn't follow the template. You just did like screenshots.
Yeah, sorry.
But
But
so
we-
think about it though. In a report, you would probably want to have the templates, right? So
Yes.
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
But like right here, we're testing like that -1, like everything that we had on that that sheet that you told us to use.
Yeah, you
Have it as far as screenshots. I know we should have done it differently, but we didn't. So we
Okay,
did
I
go
get
back.
it.
We have like the negative numbers.
okay. Yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make sure you do a little bit. You know, it doesn't have to be too much.
Yeah. Well, we did all of this.
Yeah. So
Which
put
might
some
be
of these in an Excel in like the template and just add it to your report.
Sounds good. Okay.
Okay. Great. Now the SRS, do you have that?
The questions.
The other document that everyone has been showing,
This.
not the one with the questions. There's an SRS in the it's like the IEEE format of how to document a software engineering project.
You know what? I don't have it with me. I was working on it with Alicia, but
You guys have been working on it, right?
yes.
Okay, that because you saw where people had like ERD diagrams and things like that. Make sure you submit that in your final submission, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, go and then finally this one, if you can just address,
Yes, as far as like all these questions that we had, like the first one, how to secure the site inventory and sales administration page. I was just making sure that like admin is the only one that has access, like and like the permissions on like the files to access those. The database permissions, the same thing, making sure we have like separate logins like for the clients and the admin personnel.
Right.
We also, for the third one, how did you secure the database password information? All passwords were like encrypted according to like with the HTTPS. And only admins have like access to the database.
How did we tested the SQL injection by making sure the user would only be able to use certain characters that was allowed, and we use specific length and format specifiers.
How did you protect your new module from cross-site scripting and other injections? We did a lot of testing also, and I know that like on the code, I noticed that there were some parts where you had to make sure that like you, it wouldn't allow any other characters, but letters and numbers if the fields is what was required. Would you recommend using your root sandboxing? I believe that it's good for testing, but from what I read, was that it was not recommended so much for testing like in a real environment production because it has some limitations. So for testing is okay, but not for actual production. How does same origin policy affect your website? It's critical because it doesn't allow like other users to use same resources as us, other users, as we saw like on the lab we did before. How did the e-commerce website handle SQL injections? Well, like we said, we didn't allow, like we tried to put in like a script on like the card and stuff like that, and it didn't go through. So I think we did okay on that too. Did you? We left them enabled for testing, but not for like it wouldn't be accurate for due to that for like live production. What is the function of SSL? To secure traffic of users, like I mean like data, like credit card numbers and things like that.
And you used SSL, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We created the self-signed certificates. What's next?
So the next question, it states how we did. We used the SSL certificates for the HTTPS.
What configuration did you have to set up on the server VM to protect and enable your site? Well, we created the certificates. We used we changed like configurations on some of the Apache like configurations, and then we also had like the authorized.net, which is like what's are going to be the method for users coming in to pay, and the self-signed certificates and the usage of HTTPS. Once on the HTTPS page, what did you change in the code to? You know what? I wasn't sure about that particular one. I know we just have it access through a HTTPS, but I really don't know what had to be put in there, as we just follow like the tutorial. Sorry.
That question is because there are some pages that are HTTPS and other pages are HTTP. So some students may just make the whole website HTTPS. Other ones, whenever you're in an HTTPS page, right, and you need to go back to HTTP, you need to hard code the protocol. So you need to say HTTP, the URL is HTTPS, all of that. So that's the answer to that.
Okay. How did you change any parameters? I don't remember changing anything on here. So how did you protect your site from I know we have that htaccess like on most of our directories so that it can direct, I guess, the users or to wherever they're supposed to go.
Yeah, this is the same question that another group had, that it's, what I said is you actually put up, if you look it up, clickjacking solution, you just put a little PHP function in your PHP page. and that run, it's like a redirect. So if you've ever looked at a redirect, it does the same thing, right? It runs first, redirects. Clickjacking, you put in that script and it'll break out of any frames or anything like that.
Why did you use stored procedures? One of the most beneficial reasons because stored procedures adds a layer of security to your site and to the database to protect it from any malicious code to be executed on there. What was the purpose of authorizing that? Was to have our customers feel secure about purchasing in our site, as it's from a like known provider that provides security to their information. What were the major problems? You know what, we really didn't have much time to do white testing. We were really just trying to get this to work because it took us a while to get it done.
Sure.
We did test like 21. What were the major problems to found when doing black box testing? Well, we did like the input validation on a lot of the stuff, and that's what we did as far as that. And we followed that one page that you gave us to do all the testing, as you saw with the screenshots. So, like for the credit card, making sure that we just put it like when we try to put in like letters or anything or any kind of signs or anything on there, it would reject it, and it did. And like the htaccess file, it was to like redirect, I guess, to different directories and stuff. And then in the future, how would you handle new versions of PHP and deprecated commands? I would say like testing in a sandbox environment before doing any kind of production, like deployment without testing all updates and making sure you have like a backup or a recovery system before you do any deploying to live production.
All right, excellent job. Are there any questions for this group? No questions? All right, great. Thank you very much. All right, who would like to go next?
Our group can go next.
Thank you.
Joseph, Jacob, Ravel, and then Brendan McCarthy.
Joseph, who else?
Joseph Shapiro, Jacob, Ravel, and then Brendan McCarthy. Yeah.
And then who's the third person?
Brendan McCarthy.
Brendan, Jacob, right? Jacob, Ravel, and then Joseph. Okay, got it.
All right, I'm going to share. What do you want us? Do you want me to? I'll show the website first.
Yeah, just like what everyone has been doing is fine.
Yeah, I'll like do a brief run through of it. So this is our website. We did beans and barbecue, as said before. No broken links, you can go over that later. I'll just do a quick buy. So if I were to go to like sales and then add something to cart, then if I were to check out, then there's just a bunch of these, but I think I need to like one. Yeah, okay. And then the email, I'll just add some stuff to it. So it's different, and then continue to billing. Card number. Changing that. And that puts in a bunch of stuff, and placing the order. And it goes through with order number 15.
$59. Okay.
Yeah. And that was the shipping and all that. And then going back to here, cart's now empty. I can go to, actually I'll do the login to show this part. So And if I went to like orders, it was, yep,
All right.
15.
Very
So
good.
then it goes here and then, what's it gonna do? Right, if you click the customer, then it shows the customer's page. Customer goes back to order, all that stuff.
And you're doing a self sign. Is it encrypted?
Yeah, this is HTTPS, self or SSL. Yeah, the certificate's invalid, but it is certified.
Okay, that's fine.
And then as it did, if I just do HTTP, it goes back to HTTPS.
Did you secure that login?
Yeah, so the login, I can do like, so like this would work, but I fixed the part. But if I did like that, and then this, and a space, it would work, but it doesn't. It asks for a password. And if I just give garbage, it still doesn't work because it doesn't accept it.
Okay.
So, and I can go over that later.
Okay.
I think that's like all the brief run through.
Yeah. Good. All right. So your work, as I said, your work site works. So we've seen the checkout and the order fulfillment. Now we want to see your testing templates, your SRS, and your questionnaire.
Right. So I have those. I just have to switch and find them. So the first, let's do so here's the testing. There's more that could be done, and it's like a mix of white and black. But it shows them, shows the inputs in the past. There's like fails, but then they get corrected later.
Sure.
So like the phone number had an issue. And the admin page, and that was just like URL. Before I show the notes, though, I have to change something. So it shows passwords. Okay. So yeah, so here's the testing. And there was like testing links, and then testing HTTP. And then here's where we tried the different approaches, and at first it failed because it logged in, but then after changing how it worked with the password, it still didn't work. XSS doesn't work on any of the tested parts. Although some of the parts I haven't added yet to the testing page, just because I was doing quick testing on them. Yeah, I think that's all for the testing.
Sure. Okay, so
right.
SRS.
SRS. So SRS isn't done. There's like the functionality part. We couldn't figure out what the functionality wanted until like I think just a few minutes ago.
Okay.
So we have to do that. But let's see. And then we need to remove the italicized part. We need to like just clean it up, but.
Okay, but you've started filling in some of these.
Yeah. So like there's unitalicized parts with stuff filled in.
Okay.
It's just that italicized was kept in there just so we don't have to keep referring to the PDF.
Sure.
And then here's all these. These are filled in, and then this. And that's all for that.
You don't have any diagrams yet. Okay.
No, not yet. We have to add the diagrams.
Sure, that's fine. Okay, so the last part then, if you can just briefly go over the questions, maybe point out important ones, if you have examples there.
Right, let me see. Notes. Okay, here it is. So here's the questions. So the site's inventory and sales administrator page. So first off, we created a user login for the admins, or not for admins, but for like employees. And that made it where not any user could access the admin page. If a user just tries to go to the admin page with like avoiding login, they'll be redirected to a login page. On top of that, the default like default passwords and all that on the MySQL, that's all been changed and removed and edited. So a user can't just log into the MySQL and type in Tor and get access to root. And that's been done across the board for everything. Database user permissions. So the customers and employees, they have a custom user. The user only has access to the table or to the database e-commerce too. They don't have any other access, and they only get to do what they need. And I can show that later, but they're only given access to what they need. So they can't drop, they can't drop, they can't alter, they can't create temporary tables or users or permissions or anything like that. So how do we secure the database password information? So all the accounts, as I said, got new passwords. No one has the old ones. Protect the new module. So the new module, the login page, I think there are a few others or something. They use the MySQL commands, which are MySQL improved. And they just do general help with MySQL, so it's not as easy to break. All of ours passed from, or everything from page. So what it does is it does like prepared statements, and then it puts it into a procedure or function or whatever they're called. And the procedures help with the they help with the what's it called, the Sql injections, because they stop it by only allowing certain parameters into each thing, and if it doesn't have the parameter, then it won't let it pass. And on top of that, they use regular expressions and the preg match that was given, and they only allow input that they need. So like the email has to be set up like an email. The user login cannot be anything but an email. Cross-site scripting, this is an e-commerce site, so there isn't much possibility for there isn't much for cross-site scripting unless cross-site scripting was done by an employee or admin. Users cannot get admin access unless they A, figure out the password, or B, were an admin or employee. But saying an employee did cross-site scripting, it is avoided because strip tags was used, and the only place for all the places it could happen. And
so there, that's a good answer. So you found strip tags, right? And that.
Yeah, so there's strip tags. So like one place it can happen, because like customers don't really interact with other customers or employees, so it's not really a big problem. But it is a problem for employees, because employees can, for instance, create a new product. They could add an item to the inventory, and then in the items, or in the item add to the inventory, they could give it a script, like an alert or whatever. And then when the customer would visit that page, it would give the script. But boxes like that, or everything for the admin page like that, it removes the script, it strips tags, it does all that stuff. So they can't enter it. And so any items an employee does add, it cannot be HTML. So that's how the cross-site scripting is prevented. And then again, they don't really like, it would only be an employee, and as long as employees are removed, it's not too bad a problem. Sandboxing, it's possible, but like just for an e-commerce site like this, it's like it's possible, but for the amount of work that would have to go through for it, I don't know if it's entirely worth it, but it is possible to do, and it would help users and it would give them more protection. But like on this scale, it's just not that much needed. The same origin policy. So this site uses the login. It uses login cookies for, it uses session ID and all that stuff for the login. So that's where the same origin policy comes in, and the cart and wish lists are also SOP. That's how it gains access. That's how the website gains access to all those components that store on the user side. The site handles SQL injection store, as I said, denies them. It uses regular expressions. It uses procedures. It uses the preg match, and it uses MySQLi queries rather than just MySQL queries. And all these things do their own little part to prevent the SQL injections. Error logging, it is enabled for some parts. Some of them have been disabled, like the ones that were getting irritating. But most of them are still enabled. And this for testing, because we've been testing it. We've been testing this site up until the point of like a few hours ago. But if this were to be actually released, these should be removed because one customer seeing an error that isn't just an error page looks bad. It doesn't look very appealing to a customer. On top of this, customers could use this as like a way to see how the site works or see little codes. It's just dangerous, so they shouldn't be allowed to do it. The function of SSL. So SSL is for the HTTPS and checkout features. HTTPS requires to run, which allows for secure, that's spelled wrong, encryption. So so SSL is needed for HTTPS. It's very modern that all sites nowadays have it. So it's nice to have it also on the site. It's also needed for authorized.net. That's how authorized.net is, or will trust a site. And also emailing prefers SSL just so it can, like how our emailing how it's verified. The certificates are for SSL, and those are stored in the search section or the search files, and that's just how it verifies who's a user and how the users are. Configurations, protect and enable your site. So there's SSL, there's HTTPS, SMTP, which is the mailing client, had to be set up to secure mailing. There's Apache for the server or for the website in general. MySQL is a database. PHP is, for PHP. The website Ubuntu, we used 18.04 LTS. It had the most documentation for us, so we decided to use it. So HTTPS, the default.com for the 000 default.com, whatever it's called, that file was changed. So it uses one, it uses HTTPS, and two, it can, you set it up, or ours is set up where if a user goes on HTTP, it redirects them to an HTTPS version just to make it safer. Yeah, because staying on the HTTP is a bad sign. The php.ini, we didn't make any changes, but if we were to remove the testing features and all the output and all that stuff, some of it would be removed here in this file. So that's where that's used. Protect against jacking. The user can't add anything. So from what I don't know, from what we read on online and stuff about jacking, it's all users besides employees don't get to interact much. So again, it's one of those problems. But they don't get to add much, so it shouldn't be a big issue. On top of that,
clickjacking is when a website, let's say a website that says, hey, click here, now click here, click here. So clickjacking is basically you put a website in front of your website. And the problem is when people are clicking on things in that website that they see, they're actually clicking on things on the website behind it.
Okay.
And it happens, it's a type of like putting your website within a frame and then changing the opacity of it. And so usually what I said with the other groups is you add a piece of code in your own PHP file and it just breaks out a frame. So you'll never be enclosed within someone else's
Okay,
website.
I got it, yeah. So it's like similar to cross-site scripting, but it's more about buttons. Or not buttons.
Well, the cross-site scripting is you insert JavaScript into a text file and then the code runs. This one is like, yeah, somebody would create a website but call your website, but it's like they layer. Imagine like there's 2 sheets of glass, and one is your website, one is theirs, but you know, you only see the front one.
Right.
But you're clicking back.
Okay, so it's like you click behind. I see.
Yeah.
Right. So
That's
then
what it's
ignore
for.
the text boxes thing because that's not relevant.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why I said it.
Yeah, I thought it was like a, I don't know. I looked it up and it's like they worded it like cross-site scripting, but they didn't.
Yeah, no, it's an old, and it's an older thing,
Yeah,
but, you know,
I kind of got that from the pictures. So stored procedures were used to, one, it simplifies the code because there's less in the PHP file. It just looks nicer to say like call login rather than select user star, all that stuff. So it simplifies and cleans up the code and it puts it somewhere else. It does help against SQL injections because you're only allowed to input so much in certain variables. And then that further cleans the inputs that we entered. Authorized.net handles all of the credit cards. It handles the processing of them and all the validation, not all the validation, but it handles a lot of the credit card validation, like verifying it's a real credit card. And that's left to someone else because it's safer, since they know how it works, they can handle it. And users would rather trust a site they know to handle their credit cards rather than just some random site to be using a credit card. And this protects card information. So if something were to happen to the database, not saying that would, but if it did, then this would mean that the credit cards wouldn't necessarily be affected, and they're on authorized.net. Now, if saying it's authorized.net, that's a different story, but that's less likely to happen than for our site to be attacked. The major
and
problems.
Also the liability, right?
Yeah, we don't want to be liable for losing credit card information. That would really suck. Found doing white boxes. So when white box testing functions, a lot of it was like invalid input, ranges, and type mismatch and out of bounds and stuff like that. So like a really big one was for us, we had a lot of trouble with the phone number, and that was like a problem for a while. But it was because the phone number was being set in the database. The phone number was an integer, which sounds okay, I guess. And it was like stripped and all that of like the hyphens and all that. That wasn't the problem. It's just if your phone number is 219, like ours is, then it's an out of bounds for an integer. So the phone number doesn't work and it throws an error. And that was set in a few places. That was set one in the database, and then it was set in the procedure. And then I think the regular expression treated it like an integer, or like somewhere in there it treated it as an, so like all those had to be changed to a string or varchar or whatever, because they weren't properly, otherwise it would crash because it would went out of bounds. And there was just stuff like that. And the other one was the user login. Figuring out the right way to do the email for us was kind of hard because we haven't done regular expressions in a while, so we had to relearn how to like put an @ sign but in a certain spot and a decimal. It took a little bit of time. But that was a big issue for like as you can see, all the testing we did, it was just there's a value that goes out of bounds, or there's a type mismatch or something along those lines. But the white box testing wasn't too much of an issue. Black box was different. So black box testing, we tested links and like clicking and stuff for ours. So there were a lot of dead links that had to be changed out, and that was first done in black box to just see where the links went, and then we further tested them by doing white box and seeing where it was supposed to go and where the link was, like where the link wanted to go, and then we had to change some things around, like remove an extra slash or something, so then it would go to a proper site area. Validate inputs such as all the input validation is done by regular expression, and then it's set by a string or number depending. Only allow numbers and not. So like for the phone number, for instance, like all of the people can add the special characters like the parentheses or hyphens or whatever, but all those get stripped out when you submit it. And that happens for some other fields too. Regular expressions was the big one for the first part of validation, and setting up the proper regular expressions for some of them were harder than others. Like the phone number is just, 9 integers, and then some hyphens if they have it. The purpose of the HT access file. So that's how it handles how robots or like the bots and all that get requests, and it also handles what users are allowed to see from the site. And then the last one, in the future, handling version. So we would update the PHP and all that stuff when it's verified that's safe, because newer versions tend to be buggy or they may cause issues. So we'd wait like a few weeks or whatever just until they're safe. And then deprecated stuff obviously gets removed right away when something newer works. Because that's the problem with deprecation, is sometimes you keep the deprecated stuff just because it works better than the non-deprecated.
Great. Excellent job, guys. Very good job. Are there any questions for this group? All right, great. Excellent. Thank you very much. All right. So for we've done 5 groups today, and I think we just have, if my calculations are correct, we have 3 groups left. So, we're short on time at this point, and I don't want to rush anyone. So we have plenty of time on Thursday to do those 3 groups. So would you guys like to present on Thursday? I mean, for the groups that haven't presented yet.
Yeah, that would be good.
All right, so that's 1 group. We can stop for today, and then I'll create 2 columns, one for the presentations, right? And I'll post the grade of this, the demo, and then there will be another one, which is the link where you submit your reports, your final submissions. Okay? All right, so I'll stay a few minutes. I'm gonna pause the recording now.